Is he on the audience? No. I'd like to call the Westerly Town Council to order on Monday, May 18th, 2026. Please note that Councilor Vandover is not here. She will not be attending. All of the councils are here. The town manager, town solicitor, town clerk, and sergeant are all here. First on the agenda is invocation. I'd ask Councilor Niemeyer to fill in.
This was Councilor Vandover's day for an invocation. She has sent along a prayer that she asked us to read. Heavenly Father, grant me a heart that waits without complaint and listens without haste. When challenges arise, please help me to pause, breathe, and see with clarity. Fill my mind with wisdom to discern the right path, and my spirit with patience to walk it faithfully. Teach me to respond with kindness, even when tested, and to trust your timing above my own. May my words be gentle, my thoughts pure, and my actions reflect your love and truth. Amen.
Amen.
And may I also ask that we take a moment of silence for the victims of the Westerly plane crash that occurred today. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Next, we have recognitions, awards, and memorials. Observation for Memorial Day on May 25th, 2026. Councilor Aiello.
Thank you. The Westerly Town Council, in observance of Memorial Day, in observation of Memorial Day, recognizes all veterans of the United States Armed Forces who gave their lives in service to their country. It is with respect and gratitude that the citizens of the community remember and honor these selfless veterans for their courage and sacrifice to protect others and defend freedom across the globe, and to recognize Gold Star families, for they are the living embodiment of this ultimate sacrifice made by veterans. The Westerly Town Council commemorates all fallen veterans this Memorial Day, May 25th, 2026, and encourages all citizens to join in this day of reflection and gratitude, and to recognize the sacrifices and strength of Gold Star families. Signed by all councilors. Come on up.
Thank you. One person, 18 students. 18. All on the ground. My brother Campbell.
Can't believe you've got it. Are we good? Oh, yeah, that's the prize. That's the prize.
Thank you to the veterans and coming tonight and letting us honor you. Next, we have congratulations of the Westerly Lions Club, the 100th anniversary by Councilor Shalava.
The Westerly Town Council extends congratulations to the Westerly Lions Club in recognition of the 100th anniversary of its founding in 1926. The Westerly Lions Club, the second largest Lions Club in Rhode Island, is a volunteer organization made up of friends and neighbors who adhere to the club's international motto, We Serve, which reflects their dedication to community service, kindness, volunteerism, and supporting those in need. The Westerly Town Council congratulates the Westerly Lions Club on this significant milestone and extends its appreciation for all of its outstanding and ongoing charitable endeavors, with best wishes for continued success in its vital work for many years to come. In witness whereof, we have hereby set our hands and caused the seal of the town of Westerly to be hereby fixed on this 18th day of May 2026, signed by all councilors.
Congratulations. 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 Yeah, that was the best. Thank you and congratulations, 100 years. That's very nice. It's very appreciative. Very much appreciated. Next presentation, there are none. And before citizens' conduct comments, I'd like to entertain a motion to move the town solicitor report to this area. We've all received a letter regarding the school committee appointment of the vacancy that's to be ratified tonight. But the process of filling that, we've asked our solicitor to give an opinion.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Yellow, seconded by Councilor Niemeyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So here we are. We're in under solicitor's report. Councilor Solicitor Conley, if you would go through your memo of dated today.
Yes, sir. So I was asked by the council and through the council president to review the town charter in reference to the process for addressing school committee vacancies. The very brief summary of the facts is that the official results of the November 5th, 2024 election for the school committee for the town of Westerly was certified by both our local canvassing authority, forwarded to the State Board of Elections and certified there. And I included on the first page of the memo that I sent out to the council that certification from the State Board of Elections for the school committee, town of Westerly. And in that election, it was essentially 4 to elect. And the candidates with the 4 highest vote counts were duly sworn in as members of the Westerly School Committee pursuant to that certification. Subsequently, Christy Watson resigned, and first runner-up Joseph Jackson assumed office. And I'll explain the significance of that in a moment when I referenced the applicable language in the charter. Recently, Joseph Jackson resigned, and second runner-up, Crystal Jackson, declined to assume the office. Once again, I'll explain the significance of the declination of the assumption of assuming the office. Upon Joseph Jackson's resignation and Crystal Jackson's declination, a vacancy now exists on the Town of Westerly School Committee. And the question that I was asked to address is, how does the town charter, how does the language of the town charter apply to those circumstances? Those are the circumstances we're examining. Now, section 1113 of the Westerly Town Charter provides that whenever a vacancy shall occur in a membership of the school committee by death, removal, out of town, resignation, or for any other cause. And I italicized these words for emphasis in the memo to you, so I'm going to emphasize this phrase in the charter when I present to you this evening. The right to assume the office shall be afforded sequentially by the council to the first, second, or third runner-up from the preceding election. So that language establishes a couple of things. First of all, it establishes that it's a right to assume the office among three runners-up, first, second, and third. Then it stops. So it is, first of all, an assumption of the office. There's no appointment process by the council or by the board of canvassers. And secondly, it is limited to the first, second, and third runners-up. If none of the top three runners-up assume office, and it is less than 1 year since the preceding election, a special election shall be held. Well, we all know that we're not within that time frame. Right? And then if less than 1 year, especially if none of the top three runners-up assume office, and it is at least 1 year since the preceding election, the council shall attempt to appoint a qualified person to the office. So the charter contemplates a step-by-step process. That step-by-step is that it goes to the first runner-up, which has actually occurred under our set of facts. The second runner-up declined. And so under the charter, the right to assume the office would belong to a third runner-up, if there is one. If there isn't one, then it reverts to the, or proceeds to the language regarding the council attempting to appoint a qualified person. So based on the series of events that we just outlined in terms of the resignations and the declinations for office, the right to assume the vacant office would be afforded to the third runner-up from the November 5th, 2024 election. Under these circumstances, to determine if there was a third runner-up in the November 5th, 2024 election, I reviewed the relevant documents of the Town of Westerly Board of Canvassers, as well as the relevant Rhode Island election laws and regulations. In addition to that, I would add that in the communications from the council about conducting this analysis for purposes of presenting this opinion to you, there were specific questions about write-ins, about write-in votes that the council wanted to be addressed. So when I reviewed those relevant documents of the Town of Westerly Board of Canvassers and looked at the Rhode Island election laws and regulations, I did that in light of that inquiry about write-in ballots and write-in votes. I highlighted for you in the memo most of the documents, but not all of the documents that I looked at from our Board of Canvassers processes for that election process. Now, the reason I did that is there is a specific Rhode Island statute that addresses write-in ballots that are called in the statute irregular but there's no question that the way the statute is written, irregular applies to write-ins. That's what they are. The statute specifically says regular votes refers to write-ins. And also looked to the rules governing write-in ballots with the Rhode Island Board of Elections. And you can see that the Rhode Island Board of Elections has specific procedures for tabulating and reporting write-in votes. So for the sake of thoroughness, I reviewed the documents and had more than one conversation with the clerk and the administrative folks at our Board of Canvassers in that regard. So I identified for you the documents, the official documents from our Board of Canvassers and from the State Board of Elections that I reviewed. Those included the 2024 school committee election results, which I referenced a moment ago, the ballot book for the town of Westerly, the November 6th, 2024 approved minutes, which I will explain the significance of in a moment, the precinct write-in report, the Rhode Island.gov election results for school committee. I wanted to go on and match those up. The email Board of Elections requesting the mail ballot write-in report consistent with the procedures that are contained in these rules and regulations from the State Board of Elections. The email Board of Elections requesting a write-in tape. And that played a role in getting to that final vote tally for the write-in candidates. And an email from the Board of Election regarding write-in candidates. So as I said a moment ago, I looked at a lot more than that, but those were the key documents for purposes of reaching the conclusion regarding the charter and the application of the charter to the question that the council asked me to review. So the application of the charter to those circumstances focuses on a determination of who the runner-up is from the preceding election. The reason it does is because, as I just said a moment ago, that's the key language in the charter. First, second, and third runners-up. So in responding to the question of the what about write-ins, what role do write-in ballots play on this? We look first to the most seminal document regarding voting rights and the casting of ballots, and that's the Rhode Island Constitution. And Article 4, Section 2 of the Rhode Island Constitution provides that in all elections held by the people for state, city, town, that's us, ward or district offices, the person or candidate receiving the largest number of votes cast shall be declared elected. The significance of that in those words in the Rhode Island Constitution is
What is that for?
I think I need to turn off my phone. I apologize for that to everyone. I didn't turn my phone off.
It's perfect.
The significance of that is that what the Rhode Island Constitution tells us with those words is that the person or candidate receiving the largest number of votes cast. So the Rhode Island Constitution immediately contemplates votes. It makes no distinction. And it makes no distinction. It provides person or candidate. So it includes all persons who receive votes regardless of how the vote is cast and candidates as well. Now, in addition to the candidates listed on the ballot for that election, write-in candidates also received votes. As I said a moment ago, the Board of Canvassers is required to follow the procedures from the State Board of Elections in regard to those candidates. And my review of the records and my discussions with the administrators of the board I am more than convinced that they meticulously followed the requirements they were supposed to for that election. And as required by statute, by our election laws, by the Board of Election Procedures, the town of Westerly recorded the write-in votes and formally accepted those write-in votes at its meeting of November 7th, 2024, which was its recess meeting from November 6th, 2024. And there's a very specific vote on it. Again, consistent with how it's supposed to perform its duties. Pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, Title 17, Chapter 19, Subchapter 31, a person receiving write-in votes qualifies, those votes count. We must count them. So those votes qualify in reviewing the order in which those people who receive votes essentially come in the election, the order in which they were. And so in counting those votes, and the nexus to our charter is, would any of those write-in candidates, would they fall into that category of being a third runner-up? And according to the write-in results accepted by the Board of Canvassers and certified by the state of Rhode Island, Mr. Seth Logan, received 9 write-in votes, garnering the highest total of write-in votes. Now, assuming Mr. Logan is a qualified elector of the town of Westerly, that was beyond the scope of the opinion. I didn't know that's a question for, if there's a challenge, for instance, to the, somebody assuming the office because of lack of whether or not they're a qualified elector of the town of Westerly, that would go to your board, and it'd be an appeal to the Board of Elections. Right? So assuming Mr. Logan is a qualified elector, and therefore eligible to hold the public office, the right to assume the vacant office would be afforded to him. And I emphasize the word assume because the charter specifically says that right is afforded. So it doesn't require a council approval or a council appointment. There's no affirmative action required. So that's my conclusion in terms of the application of those circumstances to our charter based on the Rhode Island Constitution, Rhode Island General Law, and the Rhode Island Board of Elections procedures for tabulating and reporting write-in votes.
Mr. President, may I ask the solicitor a follow-up?
Are you all set?
Yes, I am.
Bill?
Yes, I am.
Councilor Petra?
Based on what you just said, Mr. Connolly, I'm gonna surmise that we should strike agenda item 5C2A from the agenda tonight, that we have no role there, and to even have it on the agenda could constitute a violation of our charter. Am I correct in saying so?
Well, I'm not sure it would constitute a violation of the charter.
Well,
What I think is this.
At least we should strike it. Maybe I
what I
went
think
too
is
far.
this.
Councilor Petra, no objection to striking it. That was
Okay.
put on there from a May 5th memo from the solicitor that said the town council alone had the right to appoint the next solicitor. So that agenda item was put on there to talk about the process of how we would appoint that. But hearing Mr. Connolly's opinion today, around noontime, that the council has no action items, no status in this appointment. Obviously, that item would not be acted on by the town council. It was
Thank
5A.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm gonna have one more
Go ahead.
follow-up question to the solicitor. Attached to this agenda is a request from the third runner-up to be sworn in. He's been very patient, I feel, and I think that we maybe been a bit disrespectful as a town by not even reaching out to him and explaining the procedure. How much longer is he expected to wait before the town clerk were to reach out to him And I know we can't direct them as the town council, nothing to do with us, but I would
It has
hope,
nothing to do with the town.
I would hope, I'm just gonna say for the record, common courtesy would be that we would not let this gentleman wait too much longer, because he's done nothing but, showing that even as someone who wasn't on the ballot, that there are people in here in this town that want to see him on the school committee. So I would hope that we would have the common courtesy to reach out to him sooner than later. In fact, I would say very much sooner, and offer him the position.
That's very good. Next, any other councilors have questions or comments? Councilor Shalaba?
Mr. Conley, just a quick question with regards to the write-ins. Is there anything that states what percentage a person needs for a vote to be considered? Because in the paperwork that we've received of 118 votes, only 110 actually have names written. And some of the names that have been written look like they're questionable. Let's just put it that way. So I'm just curious, because there's no technical third runner-up because he didn't run in the election. This is a specific write-in, not that. So I'm just curious if anything states that a certain percentage has to be met in order to be considered.
No, there isn't. And I looked for that. What I did find is when you look at the recount rules, for instance, as built into the statute, the recount rules provide that not everybody, even declared candidates, are entitled to a recount. There's restrictions and guidelines built on who can ask for a recount. There's actually a provision that applies to write-in candidates' ability to ask for a recount. I know this isn't the question you asked about whether or not to recount, but I discovered it, not discovered it, but I found it and trying to be as thorough as I can, because I did consider that question. Because believe me, I understand when you're looking at something like assuming a public office and somebody receives 9 votes, that's a natural, right? It's a natural inquiry, right? And the answer is no. While Mr. Logan, as I count those total votes, and you saw the 9, while Mr. Logan would not have, at the conclusion of the election, would not have qualified to ask for a recount, it does, the fact that write-in candidates, if they meet the recount conditions, can ask for recount, is really another affirmation that write-in candidates have to be acknowledged.
Thank you.
Councilor Healy?
I'm glad you brought that one up, because that was the one I was looking into. So for anybody reading along, it's RIGL 17-19-37.2. The reason why I looked into this one on the recount was because the one that you cited specifically said twice presidential election, where I was able to find this one was specifically about public office, which is kind of, I think, where both of you guys were just going, having a minimum of 10 votes or 1%. With this specifically saying public office, and the 17-19-31 that was originally cited is saying presidency, I just feel like we're stretching in one way and not the other. So I just would like some clarification.
Happy to address that. The reason that I referenced the first statute on irregular ballots is really to show that write-ins are considered votes. Now, you're right, that was the section that addressed presidential election, but it was to affirm that the general laws require us to acknowledge write-in votes. The statute that you just cited and that I mentioned a moment ago is really a statute simply to set up the procedure for which candidates in the election, based on election results, can request a recount. It doesn't say that you have to get the 10 votes in order to qualify. It says that you have to get the 10 votes in order to request a recount. So for instance, in this situation, frankly, like in a lot of not a lot of recounts, but in a lot of elections, Mr. Logan could not have demanded a recount. He didn't have a sufficient number of votes as a writer, as a person who received writer votes to request a recount. That doesn't mean that he's disqualified from the office.
Okay. And if he were to have said no, would the chain continue to go down? I think next in line is a cat.
No, the cat can't hold office. I don't, actually, I thought there was somebody else that was next in line. There is a cat that gets a write-in vote.
Mhm.
What happens is our charter cuts it off,
Does, yes,
first, second, and third.
right.
Then, those identified in the charter as the right to assume office are done. Then it does fall to the council at that point.
Okay. So I guess my biggest puzzle piece that's missing here is what exactly qualifies, and I read your memo a trillion times and I listened to you, but what actually qualifies a write-in vote to be at the same level as an actual qualified, somebody that was declared, somebody that went through all of the processes? Where that distinction lies feels a little fuzzy to me. And with this charter having just been amended, I feel like that was the time to have this roundtable conversation about what comes next. So we don't have a third runner-up. That's how I am, and again, I'm not a lawyer, like, but I am not seeing the distinction between the two. I even looked into, there's a North Kingstown lawsuit, there's one in New Shoreham, there's one in Burrville, I believe. They got like 500 write-in votes. And it was the significant thing for the state, the biggest amount of write-in votes. And they weren't valid.
So to answer, there's kind of multiple levels to.
I know, I
your question.
threw it all in
I'll try
there,
to-
sorry.
And if I don't answer them all, call me on it. And
It's all good.
I'll do my best. So what requires us to count a properly cast write-in ballot? The Rhode Island Constitution, the Rhode Island General Laws, and the regulations promulgated by the State Board of Elections that I referenced. The challenge, and I'll say, as I say in all my opinions, this is my legal opinion. You're free to accept it or reject it. Reject it in part, and accept it in part. It's the best legal opinion I have, and I believe it's right. Otherwise, I wouldn't have provided it to you. But if there's a challenge to Mr. Logan accepting the office because of a position that he's not qualified to assume the office, the place for that challenge is with the Board of Elections. I'll share with you that as I did the review of these documents and the information and conducted the conversations with the administrators at the Board of Elections, they also shared with me some communications they had with the state board that talk about that process. So there was an email to the Board of Elections from one of our administrators and in response to a question about the Board of Elections certifying write-in ballots. And the board responded that the state board certifies the statewide election results. Everything is certified, including the write-in votes. There was also a subsequent inquiry to the Board of Elections that substantially outlined what I call the summary of facts that are circumstances that led to this examination of the charter. And the response from the Board of Elections was that under Rhode Island law, a write-in is an eligible candidate if the write-in votes were certified by the Westerly Board of Canvassers after the general election, and that and the office was on the ballot, which is exactly what happened here. Went on to write that if the writing candidate is interested accepting the appointment, this is kind of the inverse of what you just asked me, but I think it applies equally. If the writing candidate is interested in accepting the appointment, but their appointment is denied, they can appeal the decision to the Board of Elections. Now, whether the appeal can be addressed by the BOE will be determined by the Board Legal Counsel, to the extent that the board isn't going to, for instance, interpret a local charter. They're gonna tell the town to do that, but the board will, as it always does, examine the voting process and the qualifications issues.
Okay. So just for clarity, if Mr. Logan assumes this position and then leaves within the next 2 years before his term would be up, that seat would go to nobody in the chain. It would come back to the council for an appointment.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Very good. Any other councilors wish to speak? Okay, well, I just had a few questions, and this, just for the public's knowledge, this has been going on for a couple of weeks easily, since it was heard that Mr. Jackson was resigning. And initially it was felt that, it was so close to a November election, it would just be another open seat that could be fulfilled by the voters, the will of the voters. So that question was asked, and Mr. Connolly wrote a memo to us saying, no, not, it is in fact a requirement to fulfill that seat. That seat is vacant. It has a total 4 years. There's 2.5 years more or less that whoever is assigned to that seat or appointed to that seat would have that be able to sit there for until 2028, and there would be no cause for election. There'd be no requirement for an election. And it was in that memo that Mr. Connolly said that it was his understanding that the second runner-up had declined, and so therefore the town council was going to have that appointment. It's in the May 5th memo. So that's since been corrected, that the write-ins are now considered to be qualified electors, and that we should go to the town council. The town should go to the list of write-ins, and this process has absolutely nothing to do with the town council any longer. That it's 100% following the charter, going through the first runner-up, second runner-up. Now the third runner-up is a number of people. So many of the questions that I've had leading up to this were a matter of context. How do these write-in candidates measure up to the people that were on the ballot? And I'll refer to was it Crystal Jackson, who declined to accept the second runner-up position. She had 4,634 votes, and all of the write-ins had 118 votes, and the leader of the write-ins had 9 votes. So someone who didn't run, wasn't qualified by the electorate with 9 votes is going to assume this seat that is in control of $60 million of the town of Westerly's school department budget and our school children. So that's kind of the context that I'm looking at this, and I'm certain that the solicitor is following the charter, just as we as town councilors are obligated to follow the charter, as the school committee members are obligated to follow the charter. So the charter is written in the fashion that there's 3 runner-ups. No matter how they get there, the third runner-up has a chance to accept or decline the vote. In this case, there are 9 votes for one person Mr. Logan. And I guess the next closest is 6 votes. And then, moving down, there's some obvious, absurd things. My cat is on here for some reason, and nobody is on here.
Mr. Duane, you worked very hard not to follow the charter, so now we know why. I guess
I'm
you
not
didn't
finished.
agree with it.
I'm not finished, Mr.
You worked very hard not to
Councilman
follow the
Pete.
charter. I will
I'm
give you
not
that.
finished, Mr. Peter, you're out of order. So we have a candidate with 9 votes that, that hasn't gone through the process that every other candidate has, that is now going to be in such a responsible position for our budget and for our children. So it just didn't have that context that I could see. And I also compared it to other references, as Councilor Healy had asked the solicitor just now about, in order to ask for a recount, you have to have 1% of the votes, and that's not even close to coming to 1%. And then there's a lower threshold of 10 votes, and this candidate doesn't even have 10 votes. So it just doesn't seem to add up in the charter. I understand when I voted for this in the charter that it made economic sense not to have a special election, but this is what we're coming up against. That we're by the letter of the law, we're losing any common sense, in my opinion, to allow this to go forward. So I would look towards the charter as a revision. I know in the past the town council has not been advised on the charter questions and not been asked to participate in charter questions, but I think that's one reason this is on the agenda tonight, is that potential charter questions. I think the town council should get more involved in what the charter currently is and any improvements that might be considered by the voters. But tonight, the will of the people, the 9 votes that were written in here. As far as vetting these votes out, the list that we have is all inclusive with 118 spots, but there's some that voted no. There's some that voted for legitimate people, and then there's some that have Fred Rogers, which I'm not sure if he's in town or if it's Mr. Neighborhood. So I don't know how this was vetted out. I don't know if the names were the ballot names and the mail-in ballots were vetted out properly.
Point of order.
Yes.
Point of order. Yeah, I thought we had 5 minutes each to respond. I mean, you're gonna ramble all day about.
Point not well taken. There's other councils that were
Just
allowed.
keep rambling on about how you want to avoid following the charter, then you're doing a good job.
Thank you. So again, this isn't left up to the town council. This is left up to the Board of Canvassers and appeals to the Board of Elections. So I don't feel this can be, discussed anymore on an agenda item, or the process can be discussed anymore on an agenda item, because it has nothing to do with us. But that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Connolly, for your research. Moving now to citizens' comments. Anyone in the audience can speak to,
Motion to move back to the regular order of business.
Second.
motion made, seconded to move back to citizens' comments and regular order of business. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Thank you, Councilor Aiello. Citizens' comments. Anybody that wishes to speak can speak on an agenda item at this point. We have 5 minutes to speak, and we have
Tom has been waiting there for you.
and sure, you're listed first. Tom Knoll.
My name is Tom Knoll, 65 East Avenue, Westerly, Rhode Island. As a member of the Charter Revision Committee, I wanted to tell you one thing. Don't ever use the word follow. used the word that I wrote. Would you like to tell me what that word was, Mr. Niemeyer?
That word is abide.
Abide. Abide by the charter. Don't follow it. Abide it. It's as simple as that. And this whole thing tonight is a fiasco. You got some people here that would pick pepper out of fly poop, okay? With some of your crazy questions that you asked Mr. Conley. Now give the barrister a break, will you? I'm serious. Give us all a break. This never should have been brought up right from the beginning. This whole charter change on the school committee thing was brought up by Lauren Plankoff, good friend of mine. He was on a charter revision committee, along with Mike, along with John, who was the chairman. And this was brought up because a Democratic town council years ago, there was a lady who was on the on the school committee, elected and passed away. So the next person in line to take that person's place was Tim Killam. Because some people, some Democrats on the town council didn't care for him, claimed that he made a comment they took offense to. So guess what? He was out the door, the next highest vote getter. So this is why this charter change came up. Am I right or wrong, Michael? Okay.
We're not having a dialogue, Mr. Noel. Just, we're not having a dialogue at this point. He can respond.
So somebody else here ramble on.
You're right.
Minutes.
You're correct, Mr. Knoll, 100% correct. The Democrats back then were dirty.
Point of order, point of order. We're having
You know,
citizens'
forget it.
comment.
Forget it. No point of order. Forget it. You're right. I'm wrong, but I know the truth. And that's the part that'll scare the living heck out of you. That I know the truth and I remember the truth. It's as simple as that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
God bless America.
Chris, you probably on that
Next,
council too,
John
Chris.
Gagne.
John Gagne, 6 Narragansett Avenue, former chairman of the Charter Revision Commission. Mr. Connolly, excellent memo. Thank you. Dwight D. Eisenhower. A people that values its privilege above its principle soon loses both. So, good evening, Mr. President, members of the council, Solicitor Connolly, Madam Clerk, and members of the public. Also, Mr. Falcone. I'm here tonight to speak on the council's fidelity to the Westerly Town Charter and filling the school committee vacancies under section 11(1)(3). The issue is not abstract. It goes directly to whether the voters can trust the rules they adopt will be followed. Whether vacancies are filled by the will of the electorate or by backroom political deals by either party. Article 11 of the charter establishes a school committee. It sets forth a legal framework on how it's constituted. 11(1)(3) clearly states school committee vacancies are filled in the same manner as town council vacancies, which means looking to the first to the next highest vote getter from the most recent election and then proceeding down a list in order of sequence through the first 3 runners up. That's neutral. It's voter-driven standard. It's designed to limit political wrangling and keep the process grounded in election results rather than personal connection. When former school committee member Michael Ober was appointed in November of 2020, the next highest vote getter for the recent election, as you heard, was Tim Killam. What's interesting is they're both on the school committee now together, working as colleagues. But Tim Killam was passed over. Whether one agrees or disagrees with any individual involved is not the point. The point is that unelected appointment was made while an eligible runner-up was chosen by the voters was left on the sidelines. That decision, skipping the next highest voter in favor of an appointed choice, became one of the driving examples behind the Charter Revision Commission's recommendation to clarify the vacancy procedures and to lock in a clear, non-political, runner-up process for school committee seats. Citizens watched the 2020 episode with real disdain for the political maneuvering that surrounded it, and many felt backroom wrangling had been allowed to override the ballots. That sort of political deal-making is exactly what the charter is supposed to restrain. It is exactly what the 2024 vacancy amendment was meant to prevent happening again. That passed with 81.2% of the vote. Over 9,100 voters voted in favor of that. Take it out of your hands, out of political hands. So my concern is twofold tonight, right? Council fully acknowledged that the overappointment and similar choices like that were not in the spirit of what the voters have now told you. Not in the spirit of the of section 11(1)(3). And second, that the council will commit going forward, whenever a vacancy arises, the public will see a transparent, on the record process that begins with a list of runners up from the last election and offer seats strictly in order of the finish before any other option is considered. I respectfully ask that you have the town solicitor's opinion attached to the charter. In fact, we have a number of solicitors that have opined on the charter at various times. I would like to see them attached after the charter, one, to educate the town councils and future town councils, but educate the public as well. Second, finally, in the future agenda items, what would be nice, and here it is, it's one paragraph, and I heard some of the comments, and I know that you sitting councilors didn't read one paragraph. That's what it is. That's what 11(1)(3) is. Didn't read it. Anyway, that what we do is in the future agenda, if you're going to do anything having to do with the charter, anything having to do with ordinances, please have the clerk attach onto the agenda, the ordinance or charter. So that affords the opportunity for the public to understand, one, what you're talking about, and two, add to it. The community has already told us they don't want any more backroom deals over who gets on the council or school committee.
Thank you.
Voters are clear. And may I continue or just have?
Motion to give
No.
Mr. Gagne an extra minute.
Anybody in favor? Second by Councilor Yell, in favor of, how long is it? I didn't see.
1 minute.
1 minute for Councilor
Yeah, 1 minute.
Gagne.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Niemeyer,
Aye.
Councilor Healy,
Yes.
chair votes no, but
Okay.
5-1.
The community has already told us they do not want backroom deals over who gets on the council or school committee seat. Voters chose a clear charter rule. They were tired of seeing political wrangling over their ballots. Now, I trust you'll agree and will proceed accordingly. But again, remember what I said. A people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. I'd ask that this section of the charter be placed in the record. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the sign-up sheet. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak at this time? Please come forward, state your name and address. And this is all to do with the agenda.
Michael Ober, Sugar Drive. I was not planning on coming up tonight until my name was mentioned. I'm a little insulted that it was referred to as a backroom deal. We followed the charter. We all submitted our names for who we wanted to do. We were all interviewed openly on court, and a decision was made. And Mr. Gagne seems to forget, when I ran for the town council, a position opened up, I was the next highest vote getter. He refused to nominate me because it must have been a backroom deal. Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was, you had the votes. I put in my name for it just like everybody else. It's not, the charter didn't speak to how we did it. It gave the council the full authority. If we start accusing people of doing dirty things like backroom deals, it just lowers how we think of our government. We followed the process. We followed it when I was on the town council. I'm going to be appointed by the town council and for the school committee. And I never got upset because that's the rules. And when they changed the rules, that's fine. But to come up here and say that a backroom deal was done, everything was done out in the open. It had to do who supported who. You know, Tim Killam is a very good school committee member. When there was an appointment, when he had not even run for the school committee, he was appointed instead of me. I was fine with that because that was the rules. People need to stop coming up here and accusing the town council, the school committee, and other boards of doing things behind everyone's back. It was done out in the open, in an open process. You had the votes, who had the majority of votes. Okay, sometimes it's due to relationships, you know me. Sometimes it's due that you didn't want to vote for me. That's fine, but we have to stop making this into a political issue that says, if you're my candidate, you're good. If you're not, you're bad. In the end, you're going to choose how to follow the charter. But you have questions. That's legitimate. Having questions is not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Seeing none. That concludes citizens' comments. Under agenda items, is there a council response? Anybody like to speak? Councilor Niemeyer?
Yes, I would like to just, since my name was also bandied about a little bit as a member of the Charter Commission that passed this, I do recall that discussion. I do, and what we were trying to do was come up with a politically neutral process for filling vacancies. I looked over the write-in sheets with regards to the 2024 election, and there were Democrats that got write-in votes, and there were Republicans that got write-in votes. It really could have gone either way. I think maybe there could be some tweaks, but I think we did a great job of setting up a politically neutral process for filling these vacancies. I do, and I will defend that. This time, you know, it went a particular way for one party. That was not written in stone. It could have gone either way. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure people know that was the intention. It wasn't to politicize anything. It was to depoliticize things.
Anybody else? Councilor Healy?
Thank you, three, for coming up. Mike, thank you for mentioning asking questions isn't a bad thing. I got elected, and it would be terrible if I didn't ask my solicitor questions before making any type of anything. That's part of my responsibility. Whether people think my questions are good enough or not, this is my responsibility, and I take that pretty seriously. I'd also like to ask that the individuals that have been on our charter commission, please tap in at any other type of meeting that we have where we're complaining about the charter, not just one that is politically charged for the Republicans. That would be lovely. Lastly, I just want to also talk about how we are being told that we are or not doing specific work or homework. I'm only going to speak for myself, but I know others up here spend days, weekends, nights. We're all doing this work, whether you want to think it or not. I could recite to you that paragraph. So please do not come up here and say one of us six aren't doing something because you don't agree with it. It's just, honestly, at the end of the day, you guys were upset that we're talking about it, but you both took your 5 minutes to talk about it too. So thank you so much for using your free will that way.
Thank you. Councilor LaPetra, you haven't spoken.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I'm happy to hear that Councilor Healy read the charter before she asked these questions. I don't think the problem is we're not doing the work. I think that a lot of the councils up here, Mr. Dooham and Ms. Healy included, have a what I would call a reading comprehension problem. So you just have to do a better job of, well, I mean, it's too late. I mean, you went to school, you are what you are at this point. So if you can't read something and comprehend it, then it's never going to get better. No, never. Listen, if you can't understand what you read, don't bother reading it. As far as the desperation you showed to keep Mr. Logan off the school committee, to actually try to go against our charter because you didn't like who the third runner-up was. It reeked of desperation. It was just a Bush League tactic. And I'm going to address one more thing, and something Mr. Oper said about our politics not existing in back rooms. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the town of Westerly, but all our politics are in back rooms. In the last conference council that Mr. Duhamel was on, he sold a school for $750,000. It was worth $3 million in a back room. He sold another property that was probably worth $10 million in a back room. He bought a dam in a back room, okay? We own a dam because he wanted to buy a dam in a back room. Everything he does is in a back room. We just put up a carnival at the beach in a back room. This guy doesn't stop, okay? And until people like Duhamel and Dupree Engineering are gone from town politics, it's never gonna get better. And I'm sorry to say that this town is not going to wake up. I mean, I've just waited and waited for this town to wake up. I've lived here for 50 years, and it's getting disheartening.
Maybe you'll quit. Any other councilors? I'm going to respond somewhat to Councilor Dillon, the expert, the guy that knows all things. You mentioned the dam project. I voted not to buy the dam. You mentioned the school. I assume you mean the Bradford School. I voted not to sell the school. I don't know what else that you mentioned, but I've been on the right side of history, and you don't even know how to read minutes, I guess, Mr. LaPetra. Desperation. The desperation was a stated memo from the solicitor that said the council had to choose. I was looking for a way that the voters could vote on it. Not for the council to take over.
You should have been following the charter instead of looking for a
I'm
way.
speaking now, Mr. LaPetra. I was looking for how the voters would get involved. I was kind of in shock that 9 votes could win a school committee seat, so I'll fully admit to that. And it didn't seem to add up with all the other, and I already went through that, so I'm not going to repeat it. But lastly, I just want to say to Mr. Gagne, I agree with everything that he's stated. Those ideals are high, and I believe they're shared by this council at least, if not previous councils that I've served on. The only difference is the facts, and what we looked at this time with a write-in vote is 9 people with my cat on there that's opposing the new town school committee member. Just didn't seem to add up, so that's why I wanted to have more of a review. It's not a backroom deal. It should be in front of the electorate on November. It's a few months away. I don't know why we're appointing anybody or giving it to someone for 2.5 years when they could easily run this November. So that's where I'm coming from. But thank you all for coming in front of us and speaking and explaining the charter of revision committee and the ideals of that. I don't think there's any disagreement in that. Moving now to consent calendar, approval of minutes, regular minutes of 5/4/26.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
5/4 minutes are approved. Special meeting, 5/4/26.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made, seconded by Council Healy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Special minutes are approved. Fiscal matters, resolution authorizing a deletion to the tax rolls of $18,661.31.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made, seconded by Council Healy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved. Resolution authorizing payment to the lower office of Cameron and Middleman LLP litigation matters, $6,179.50.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made and seconded by Council Healy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved. Resignations and appointments, resignation of Joseph D. Jackson School Committee. I have a motion to accept with regret.
Motion to accept the regret?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Appointments, just for the record, item 2A, school committee is not applicable to the town council. It will not be heard. Council Healy.
I believe the appraiser of dog damage is actually for you. If I can get this to load up. Is it Art? Okay. Arthur Smith for reappointment, and that's on you to accept.
All in favor of Arthur Smith for the appraiser of dog damage?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
The Economic Development Commission has 2 full member and 1 alternate member vacancies. The appointment subcommittee nominates Cameron Gafferty for the alternate member.
Second.
Cameron Gaffney
We
for
don't-
alternate
We don't need a second. Just-
member. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Gaffney.
Staying with the EDC, the appointment subcommittee nominates Andrew Coleman for full member.
And Andrew Coleman is a proposed member on the EDC.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr.
Last one for the EDC, the appointment subcommittee nominates Stephen Dwyer for full member.
Stephen Dwyer for full member. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Dwyer.
The appointment subcommittee met and considered candidates for the licensing board. This committee voted to bring forward 2 names, Joe Negrelli and Frank Samuelson, under the understanding that 2 seats were available. We have since confirmed there is only 1 seat. Mr. Duhamel, I believe the council was provided with applications for both mentioned. Would you entertain a vote or a motion for?
I make a motion to bring forward Mr. Negrelli.
Motion for Mr. Negrelli, poll vote. You don't need a second.
Can we have a discussion on it?
Discussion?
Yeah, I'm on the appointments committee as well, and I appreciate Mr. Negrelli's past work on the licensing board. He was up for reappointment. However, he mentioned to us that he's missed half of the meetings, if not more. And one of the meetings he misses in November is one of the most crucial meetings on the licensing board. And for me, if we want to put somebody on any board, they need to make that commitment that they're going to be there. And him not being here for at least half the meeting is problematic. And we had that issue with somebody else in the past on the juvenile hearing board. And then we rectified that by not reappointing them because they didn't show up for meetings either. So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yes,
So, Mr. Negrelli,
Mr. President, sorry, if I could just ask the members of the appointment subcommittee, did he mention why he had missed half the meetings? Is it something that may not continue into the future, or?
No, he's a snowbird. He goes to Florida. So
Oh.
he won't be here to make them. He's made them in the past during COVID because they had Zoom meetings and he was able to do it, but he won't physically be here to make the meetings.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't reside in Westerly more than 6 months out of the year.
If he doesn't reside in Wesley more than 6 months, how is he registered voter in Wesley? Just like an April Dinwiddie thing, or what are we talking about here?
Well,
resides
6
resides
months
is a legal term, but
I mean, he lives there,
Available.
he lives here for 6 months in a day at least, otherwise he wouldn't be voting in Wesley, correct? And he wouldn't,
right.
well,
That's
then
not-
I don't, I know he goes to Florida. I don't think I think he comes back and forth, so I don't think he's gonna miss every meeting in the winter. And I don't know what made this November meeting so crucial. I think that Mr. Negrelli is someone who lived here for many years, is entrenched in the community, his family's entrenched in the community. This would be a mistake to pass him over because he goes to Florida for a few months and might
I
miss one.
completely agree with what is just said. However, we're not just making it up. He told us this and it's on recording. And he said maybe 6 months he would be here. And on the licensing board, November is their biggest meeting. It's their biggest month for approvals. That's why that is a significant meeting.
Any other discussion? Poll vote for Joseph Negrelli. You had something?
On his new application or during the interview, I mean, he said that he wouldn't be here, or most likely he wouldn't be here.
During his appointments interview, he said he would not be able to be at the majority of the meetings because he was out of state for 6 months or more. And then he was the one that offered up the November information.
So is it like Is it like a snowbird goes away in the wintertime, or is it just?
It's, yeah, it's for an extended period of time.
And the other person,
Frank, he actually has not volunteered for us before. His son and daughter-in-law, I believe, own Stick and Fin. And he recently, about a year ago, went to a licensing board meeting and told us that he was thrilled with how well the board presented itself, how smooth it ran. He sat there and said, "Hey, I think I would like to do this." He is retired and he was very excited about an early meeting, which we all know is a very hard time slot to fill for many volunteers. He was enthusiastic to learn and to meet our residents and help the town.
yeah, I mean, if Mr. Negrelli said that he's certainly not going to be here for 6 months or more.
And we do have
During the
our
times.
rules do say that we have to record our meetings.
Yeah.
So the clerk.
I
have it
mean,
recorded. I just for the sake of
I
saying.
don't need that, but I mean, if he said that he's not going to be able to be here for 6 months or more, during the times that the licensing board typically meets, then that could be an issue, so.
And they meet once a month. It's not like they meet every quarter or anything. It is an actual once a month meeting.
Any other discussion?
He indicated to me he could make it back for at least the November meeting.
I'll call the motion.
And, would people be willing to, I'd like to read both applications, but, can we, not right now, but can we, continue this to the next meeting?
Typically, they're all attached to the agenda. Terry usually puts them on there where they have there. Oh, okay, apologies.
I think
I'll
you probably get them for the appointments committee, but
I'll second the motion and continue that one, Bill, if you want to do some more research on that.
yeah.
To see if he in fact won't be here for 6 months
Right.
or if he thinks he could make the meetings, that'd be definitely a point that would have to be ironed out, I think.
Yeah, make that in the form of a motion. to
Okay.
continue this
second
for
it.
next-
So you're going to pull your motion to nominate Mr. Negrelli?
Yes, I will pull my motion to nominate Mr. Negrelli in favor of Ms. Diallo's motion.
Motion to continue to the next meeting, appointment for licensing board. Motion made and seconded by Councilor Peter. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This is continued. Board of Recreation?
Can the clerk send us the applications for those two? Thank you.
All right, jumping back in, the appointment subcommittee nominates Ronald Spizzato for reappointment to the Board of Recreation.
Ronald Spizzato, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the
Opposed?
appointment subcommittee nominates Kenneth Burton Senior for reappointment to the Veteran Rules of Honor Memorial Committee.
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Ken Burton?
That concludes the appointments.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Very good. Next is on the consent calendar, item D, June 15th, 2026, regular town council meeting. Vote to reschedule to June 22nd, 2026. This is to accommodate, is it you, town manager?
Motion to reschedule to June 22nd, 26.
Second.
Motion made, seconded by Councilor
Um,
Baba. Discussion.
Point of order. We haven't yet decided as a council if the meeting is going to be moved to June 22nd. It's still June 15th. So ordering something advertised for June 22nd at this point.
The June 15th, 2026
Or did I miss the
regular
date?
town council meeting is on our calendar.
All right, so what did I'm sorry, then repeat the motion that was made then.
Motion for Councilor Healy, motion to move the June 15th, 2026 regular town council meeting to reschedule to June.
Okay, I'm sorry.
22nd.
I thought you moved on to the other, or I didn't hear the first part. My
May I
apologies.
ask a question of the town manager? Do you love these meetings so much, you don't want to miss just one of them?
Well, I figured in June, you have one the 1st and the 15th, then you're gonna be off for 2 weeks, so July, and then you're on the 4th of July. You're probably better off spacing them to the 1st to 22nd, you have weeks in between, so.
Good answer, Sean. I'll vote to move it.
All in favor of moving the meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the meeting is now moved, to June 22nd. Item 7, unfinished business. Proposed ordinance, an amendment of chapter 1439 of the general ordinances of the town of Westerly entitled Reenact and Readopt Chapter 1242 entitled The Westerly, Rhode Island Zoning Ordinance of 1998 as amended. Discussion and possible action. This was continued from 5/4/26, and this is to order advertise for a public hearing on June 22nd. Town manager?
Yeah, I just want to mention that there was a couple of clerical changes, repeats that, Councilor Aiello picked up on, those were removed, and then the rear lot was removed. Everything else remains as.
That was still in there?
Huh?
We
It
keep
was.
saying to get it out.
No, it's out. No, it was removed.
Yes.
It
Okay.
was, and the couple corrections were corrected
Okay,
in the
thank
version
you.
now.
Councilor Healy.
My question is on the data centers. Should that be part of this package, or should we do this and then have to go back and re-talk about zoning?
I think you have to go back and re-talk about zoning. I think
Okay.
you have to adopt what was presented here, or it goes to public hearing for comment, and then
Mhm.
if you choose to adopt, then go back and.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think the main thing was to, as part of the discussion, the main thing was to restrict this to only what's been dictated by the state. But
Yeah.
we should certainly move that data center issue as a workshop item. Councilor Aiello.
Yeah, clarification. The manager or the solicitor may need to answer this, but on in this zoning package, all right, the first section, the following proposed revisions to the zoning ordinance need to be approved by the town council to comply with the recent changes in state law. Nobody argues that. Next section, 2, the following sections do not directly relate to amendments made to the Rhode Island general laws, but should be approved to match the revisions to the zoning ordinance. Are these in relation to the?
Same thing. It's not the exact word, but it's current language we have in our current zoning ordinances that have to be changed to reflect what's changed on the state side.
Okay, so we're not.
So it's
adding
not
anything-
verbiage for verbatim. It's to change what we currently have to match what's on the state side.
And nothing is being added. new
Nothing at
to-
all. No.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to order advertise for a public hearing on 6/22/26?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Niemeyer, second by Councilor Aiello. Discussion.
Yes, I'll be voting no, only for the reason that I don't agree with having to bend our will locally and our planning board and our zoning board strictly to get in line with the state who really, in my mind, hasn't taken any interest in Westerly and our needs and our wants. And even though I agree with the fact that we do have to get in line with the state laws, I'm gonna vote no in principle in this one.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Chair votes yes, 6-5-1. To order advertised only. Next, I entertain a motion to recess the regular meeting, convene the committee of the whole workshop. This is so that we can discuss any new information for the water and sewer and transfer station budgets, and then come back to the regular meeting so we can order it advertised. Do I have a motion to suspend the regular meeting, recess the regular meeting and
So
convene?
moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Councilor Healy.
Discussion?
Discussion?
Is this something we really need to do? Is anyone, yeah, okay. If we say, all right, then withdraw my discussion.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm going to open up the next meeting. I'd like to call to order the Westerly Town Council Workshop for Monday, May 18th, 2026. Called First is proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 water and sewer and transfer station fund budgets, discussion and possible action. Town manager, you want to?
And go through them. So, I passed out the book sometimes back and it was given to you, it was turned over to you by the, finance board also, for the water department, the sewer department and the transfer station. So you have three ordinances before you, but you also have to order those advertised and the budgets have to be adopted on each. So on the water side of things, there's no proposed rate change. It's basically the same rates that we established last year. And if you go through the budgets, basically on the water side, the actual budget, the revenue side of it's about 7.9 million, 7.963 million. And then if you go down through all the expenses, again, a lot of the personnel listed on the water side and the sewer side, there's a percentage, if you look like the town manager's on there, finance director, senior, there's a percentage of their salaries that are taken from the water and sewer budgets to contribute to the work that they do for each of those respective departments. So all in all, at the end of the day, the water department side of things, it's the expenses, it balances out. And to give you just a general idea, if you go through this, so we have a fund balance in each of these departments. You have a fund balance on the water side, fund balance on the sewer side, fund balance on the transfer side, which is the same as the fund balance on the town side, money to be used respectfully within the department itself. So on the water side, the actual fund balance is about 5.063 million is their fund balance or their savings account per se. On the capital side of the water, there's a long sheet in your book if you have it. But again, it's the same. We didn't add anything new into it. It's the same infrastructure improvements that we have proposed in previous years. And just going through those. If there's any questions on those, I'll certainly take the long sheet. It goes out to show you what's available in the current year, what's available in the prior year, and then the total. And then what we're adding in for this year, if you add that total up to what's added in this year, that would be the total fund as of July 1st to each of those capital items. And just to explain, and I know I usually get the question that on the capital side, the second one down, the SCADA system was what controls the whole water system, mixes the chemicals into it to treat the water. But the next one, Serengeti excavation, we always get asked what that is. That's for a land lease we have on property in White Rock behind the bus garage. We lease it. It's a lease to buy. I think 2034, the lease is up and we own the property. So
They don't own that any longer, do they?
They do not. We pay a bank.
We call it the Serengeti lease.
It's still with them. The lease is with them, but we have we have to pay the bank directly. So that's up in 2034 and we own it after that. The other stuff, items, tank rehabilitation maintenance program, we started that last year. That was something we just started. So that's to rehabilitate the tanks and maintain the tanks. So we're not caught with any coming before you for replacement tanks. Because if we maintain them, we shouldn't have any issues. The PFAS mitigation, we're throwing money into that every year to build up an account to deal with the PFAS levels, which we are in litigation regarding, and we're hoping to get multi-millions of dollars towards our infrastructure, PFAS, to remove PFAS from our water. We have started seeing some progress on that, as Solicitor Conley is well aware. Lead service mitigation, we have a small balance in that, but again, we're moving forward with that project because we're getting money from the state side at a 0% interest rate from the RIB bank. Everything's the same. Pipe rehabilitation, JS software. If there's any questions on the water, again, nothing's changing as far as the rates go. We'll move on. I'll go on to the sewer side. So if you go to the sewer treatment plant side, roughly that's a $6.6 million budget. We have already, the rates are changing, but we already established the rate structure by resolution from RIB Bank. And a matter of fact, I just got our certificate of approval this morning. That's our certificate of approval to proceed with construction. We finally got the certificate of approval from DEM this morning to move forward. Everything's been met. We go before RIB Bank on June 15th, the infrastructure bank, and the bonding will be in place as of July. So But all in all, there's nothing changing in the budget other than the rate structure. Obviously, we're going to a 15% tax, which is in the resolution for the ordinance. For non-sewer users, we're going to $1.08 on the ad valorem tax to the sewer users itself, and then an infrastructure fee or a fee of sewer users of $400. And that's it. Those are the three changes: 15 cents, $1.08, $400. That's what's in the ordinance before you. And again, if you go through the sewer side, their fund balance is 3.527 million. 3.527 million. Lower than the water side, but we did use $1.5 million of that when we had the design done for the sewer treatment plant. All in all, $6 million budget. Same thing, you'll notice the personnel is a percentage of the personnel that comes out into the sewer side of things. The operating expenses, again, if you go through the percentages, no major changes in anything other than when you go to the capital side, that's a long sheet. You'll see the well, you'll see it on the expense side, which is the expense for the debt service that we're actually incurring as a result of taking out this loan, which this year is $818,000. And it will naturally go up as we start using this. We get into this $85 million of debt. And again, we know the first one we're getting is $45 million in debt. The second 40 million will come back to the council to restructure any increases we have to do during the course of this project. So there's no questions on that. I'll move over to the transfer side, which is the third one. And there are no changes proposed to the transfer station. Again, if there's any adjustments in the rates on the transfer station, we do that administratively based on the rates we get from the state. They only get changed when we get an increased rate from the state. So nothing has changed as far as that goes. And their actual fund balance on that side is 3.938 million is their fund balance on the transfer station side. Keeping in mind, there's probably around 800,000 of that for the roof and skin around the transfer station building. We have done some other things we've used it for. We put a water line up to the building about 1.5 years ago to add fire suppression into the building and hydrants along the way. So all in all, the transfer station is working. As you know, the same tax rate, because remember we were charging a fee for the first couple of years, and then we changed it to a tax. So properties of higher value are paying more of a fee than the properties of lesser value or vacant lots. So all in all, if there's questions on them, I mean, there's really nothing. But however, if you look at the transfer side, there is not. We're not sharing the expenses of all the personnel as we are with the water and sewer. It was never set up that way when it went to an enterprise fund. The personnel you see on this budget, the actual personnel that's working for the transfer station side.
And the transfer station improvements are going to be this year? Is that what?
Yeah, this year, September for the roof and the skin on the building.
That's great.
So it's all good things. I mean, the transfer station is, I mean, keep in mind, we had been previously putting 4, 5, 6, you've all seen it, but on previous councils, several hundreds of thousands of dollars into that. It is balancing now. There's no issues with it. And actually the fund balance is building, which is a good thing. That's a good thing.
Could we put some money aside for some free range chickens and a garden as well? Couple $100 maybe?
We could.
Councilor Healy.
So with the assumption that we're going to pass all of
Yep.
this and everything, can you let the taxpayers know if their taxes went up or down? All of it, all together.
The taxes went down by 1 penny.
Okay, thank you.
So, 1
I'm
penny.
going to take that
Thanks.
penny. That's
Thanks to the
too
council. That's a
saying,
big
okay?
difference. I have to tell you that if you look we have to be one of about 3 in the state that mill rate went down.
Yes, I just wanted
They
to
all
think
went,
about it
but,
for a second, Sean.
which is a good thing. I mean, considering the projects that we have taken on, the amount of infrastructure stuff we're doing, I think is a huge benefit to everyone involved. All the town staff and everyone involved for being very frugal and conservative on how we spend.
And I know I said it last time, but it is a big, a tribute to you as well, so.
Not just me, all of us.
Yeah, the utilities departments are run very tight, very strong, and ahead of maintenance in many instances. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Yes, Councilor Yellow.
My question actually relates to the ordinance that we're gonna be doing, but you have the book, so I don't know if it relates to that or not. But something new going in the ordinance says the hourly rate, labor rate charged to customers for water meter repairs during work hours shall be $50 per hour. Water meters are town property, right?
Water meters are owned, no, they're not. They're
They're
really
not?
not. You buy the meter,
You buy the
we
meter,
maintain it, and then we have a replacement program which is in place now.
right?
So if somebody comes, if there's when we say repairs shall be 50, because there was a minimum fee prior, repairs $50 an hour is if we have to go into, and it's not, if it's an error on our part, if the meter breaks, we'll replace the meter. It does not cost the resident anything to replace the meter, because you buy the meter, you have to have a working meter. If it's beyond that, if it's on your side of it, obviously your side of the water supply, then there's going to be a charge. If there's something that's not caused by the town, if it's caused by the town, there is no charge.
So, all right, so if the owner of the property, if it's neglect or some problem, then they're responsible, but.
We
and
will
if
go,
it just,
we will go shut their water off for them, guide them in the direction to get it repaired. If there's something we can repair, we will. I mean, we're not going in to repair your kitchen
All right.
sink, but
yeah, no, I understand. I just didn't want it to be an automatic, no matter what. Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you, Mr. Manager. This is a special meeting, so it requires a section for citizens' comments. There's no sign-up sheet, but if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak, please come forward.
John Gagne, 6 Jensen Avenue. Yeah, I'd just like to comment on the budgets and especially the transfer station is looking better all the time. The town employees do a great job there. A few years back, they had, Russian olives over the entire pile. They've removed all of those. They go up there and mow it down. But in the equipment, the shed's looking better, and the floor, the new floor, and the skin will be great over there. So, and the budget's looking good with regards to that. With regards to the water and sewer, I mean, the major investment in this town, but we're not alone. My friends in the environmental community say that Stonington has 3 sewer plants, by the way. Right? 3 of them. There's one in Mystic, there's one in the Pawcatuck, and there's one. So when we look at that, it's expensive, but it's important. But the one thing I want to say is I was driving around and I was in Providence recently and there was a water main break. And not to say that we don't have leaks in pipes, but because of the upkeep of a system that we have over the years, last 20, 30 years, and having good people in place and investing in it as we've all invested in it over the years, council after council, we're not seeing those sort of things that some other communities do, where they just keep it going until it finally fails. So I encourage you to move them forward and pass the budgets. Thank you.
Very good. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Seeing none. Any council's response? Hearing none. The next is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded by Councilor Shalava.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The workshop is now adjourned. Entertain a motion to,
And to reconvene regular meeting.
Second.
motion made, seconded by Councilor Healy. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now in our regular meeting. Under item 8, new business. And Madam Clerk, do we have to suspend our town council rules given the special meeting?
If you want to act on any of the items under new business.
I make a motion to suspend the rules, 9D, council operations, to discuss 8A, 8B, 8C, 8C1, 8C2, 8C3, and 8D.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I
Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed to suspension of rules. This is simply to allow the council to discuss and possible action on the next agenda items. Item 8A, resolution requesting the town state legislative delegation to introduce legislation exempting municipal operated beach parking in the town of Westerly from the state sales tax on short-term parking facilities. Discussion and possible action. Mr. Manager?
Yes, this is a new tax that was established by the General Assembly, taking place as of July 1st. It's a 7% tax on all parking in the state. There's been some pushback from the communities that have, as we do, seasonal parking lots. So we would have to add 7% to our daily parking rates, and technically 7% to everything we do with parking. And so, as with some of the communities in the state, they've adopted a resolution basically asking the state to consider, well, other communities, but we're only referring to Westerly, to be exempt from this 7% property tax. So we're only seasonal. It's not a year-round parking like municipal parking that we're charging to park. We don't do that. This is seasonal parking only. I talked to Solicitor Conley about it, and his office put together the resolution based on some resolutions I had provided from other communities.
And this would affect the beach pass as well?
Daily beach parking rates along with the pass.
Only
Yeah.
daily?
No, with the passes also.
Okay.
If you're charging the park, you have to charge sales tax.
I got a question for you. So I just paid $85 for the town beach pass. Was that 7% in there? I didn't look at that closely. I just paid the money.
No, it doesn't go into effect till July 1st, so it would not go into
Oh.
effect on the season passes till next
Oh,
year.
so I already, it's because I bought my season pass, I'm in? And see, another smart move.
There's the advice. Go out and get your pass early. Any other discussion?
The resolution said October 1st, 2025.
You had parking services, October 1st, 2025, meaning you're subject to the tax. Doesn't mean it's going back to that date. That's just for some reason, that's the legislation when they did it. It does not go into effect till July 1st.
That's when, okay.
Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Motion by Council Shalaba,
Second.
second by Council Niemeyer. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved. Next, item 8B, resolution authorizing change order 14 to the contract for Bowling Lane Drainage and Roadway Improvements Project. Discussion and possible action. Mr. Manager?
This, it says change order Bowling Lane. It's only because we're working off the same rate structure. This has nothing to do with Bowling Lane. This is actually for the next, there's money budgeted for this, and there's a map on there. So this, if you look at the map on it, it's Stonehill Drive, Benny Drive, Eddie Drive, that loop off of Babcock. I believe Max had told me they've had over a half a dozen water main breaks on that in the last 3 or so years. It's an old clay type of pipe that's in need of replacement. And again, those roads are scheduled on the paving program to be repaved. So rather than, the plan is to go in and replace those water lines. So, D'Amber, who did the construction for Bowling Lane, is allowing the same rates to carry forward from the Bowling Lane project as to this project. So, that's what it is. It's money that's already funded in the budget. Again, I know on suspension of rules, you could wait till the next meeting to approve, or they are looking to set up and start. Because from when they finish the water lines, then obviously it's going to go to the pavement replacement side. So all to be completed this year.
Are they gonna still finish Bowling Lane?
Yes, why would they still?
I just want to make sure.
Isn't the water line finished?
Our road's not finished, no,
Bowling Lane?
no.
What needs to be? We don't have
They
to
just
do it
went
now.
out there to do some more seeding because they gave
Oh,
us a
yeah,
bunch
okay,
of
that. Couple
seashells and our
mailboxes.
mailboxes aren't done yet. So anyways, thank you for pointing out that that's because I got like 4 calls about it because nobody clicked the button. So thank you for that. And I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve by Council Healy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Council Shalaba. Discussion? Yeah, I think we should change the name of Bowling Lane on these. Just I understand the rate is the same, but.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately, well, we don't want the increased rates, so if they keep
No, no.
using the name, we get the same rates, because it's a decent rate, so.
Different area of town. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion, resolution approved. Item C, fiscal year 2026-2027 water, sewer, and transfer station budgets. Discussion and possible action. This is for order advertised for public hearing on 6/1/2026.
Motion to order advertised for 6/1/2026 on 8C 123.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to order advertised. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Proposed ordinance to be advertised on 6/1/2026. Next is this discussion under 8D, no action, possible amendments to the Westerly Town Charter. This is just to put some ideas out there that the manager might and the solicitor might be able to improve upon, work on. It's not meant to be a long discussion. We figured 5 minutes in the agenda review meeting. We figured 5 minutes per counselor might be a good idea. So I just throw it out there. Anybody wish to make an opinion tonight, Counselor?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to go into specifics, but I think that we should have a couple weeks and everybody should think if we have any charter revision questions we bring forward. I would only say this one caveat. We saw what 19 questions, whatever it was, did to the last ballot. So let's keep it down. Let's say maybe this council, I won't even go 10. I would maybe 5. Let's come up with 5 good ones or 6 or 7 tops. I would go less than 10 for sure. And maybe we could all come up with a few weeks, write something if we have an individual question we don't like or want to change, and then we could all talk about it and throw 5 questions on the ballot if that's good with everybody here.
Thank you. Counselor Niemeyer?
Yeah, my experience talking about some of this stuff, it's good to go back and forth a little bit. So might I suggest we do this as a workshop when we get to it?
We are in a workshop. This is discussion only. If you haven't had any ideas, we'll have another one, but right now
Okay.
we're discussing ideas.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to sort of put together some specific language that we want to propose, come back together and narrow it down to a few that we can present to the voters.
Thank you. Counselor Ayala?
I was just going to suggest that if any counselors have suggested questions, that they get them to the clerk in time for the posting of the next meeting. And then we can discuss it, and then any of them that we want to move forward, they can be fine tuned for the following meeting. Just so the clerk ends up having enough time to get them to the Secretary of State, I think the first week of August. Yeah, so that'll give us July as a backup. If we want to carry over to that first meeting in July, that just a suggestion on the scheduling.
Counselor Healy?
I actually have 2 questions for the solicitor, if that's okay.
Please.
Solicitor Conley, I have a couple of things. So on charter stuff, the appointment subcommittee has a meeting coming up on the 26th that is surrounding all boards and committees we've talked about being stale. There have been a few that have been brought up that I'm told that are protected by charter. But as we all talked about, we were all really digging into the charter over the past week. So I'm getting conflicting things. I'm only seeing Board of Canvassers, Board of Finance, Board of Assessment Review, Planning, Zoning, and School Committee as charter established. And then I'm seeing the rest as ordinance created. So for example, Neighbor Day Committee. I have that as it was ordinance created, but I was also advised that it was charter. So I don't want to go into our May 26th meeting and tell the committee wrong information. I figured it was a good time to ask. I also sent you this huge spreadsheet. So if you want to, like, you don't, I don't want to put you on the spot. And yes, my spreadsheets.
No, thank you,
Top tier.
Mr. President.
Please.
I did see your email, and all candor, I took the first look at it last night and looking at the spreadsheet. Your first question, if it wasn't meant to just be illustrative, the first question you asked is easy. That's not a charter
Okay,
committee. But to respond completely and accurately, I would look at the time, and I'll get it to you in time for your meeting, for sure. Just that I took a glance at it last night. I didn't sort of go through and check off the boxes on it,
okay,
but I will do that for you.
okay. And then this is a question that's a little obscure, especially given our current administration, but would there be any way that legally a Westerly Town Charter question would be surrounding the election of town council, school committee, and even going into boards and commissions that would disqualify anyone with a felony or, I don't know, domestic vandalism?
Domestic vandalism?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes, you can do a charter amendment that would, include those matters, yes.
It would be legal to
Yes.
put that in front of voters? Okay, thank you.
Did everyone speak? Counselor Shalaba?
I actually kind of agree with some of the counselors. I think we need to kind of take a step back, go over things in the charter, go have the questions, and then come back as a group. And if we have to have a workshop or a special meeting, just to kind of discuss our questions and just speak about that, because that could be a whole long discussion going forward. So I think we should write down our questions and then make a decision when we should come back and reassess that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ju-
We
ju-
all
just,
spoke. Did you want to say
I
something?
just want to
quickly?
ask that, what Council Healy had mentioned, I've also thought that we've had way too many boards as well. When you respond, could you respond to the whole council as it pertains? to
Oh,
the-
absolutely,
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor.
absolutely.
Yeah, I sense some trepidation on throwing ideas out there, and the reason I put it on as discussion was just simply that, to get some of the discussion going. We have somewhat of a tight deadline, as Councilor Ayala said. First week in August comes first very quickly. And any charter question is going to have, quite a bit of debate amongst us and amongst the public as they brought forward. But I think we've seen some of the areas where the good intentions of the Charter Review Commission to save the town money by special elections, by appointing the next, regular, the next runner-up, even down to 3, has great value. But I'm thinking that there might be another standard that has to be met. Perhaps 1% of the voters that met would qualify what a writing candidate would have, or even someone on the ballot. They don't receive 1% of the vote. And there's only so many candidates that are on the ballot. Do we just give it to that person, or do we have a special election? Certainly don't like the appointment aspect of this. I don't know why that's in our charter. I'd rather have once the seat is filled, it goes to the next election. I mean, here we are months away from an election, and we're all committed to the voters having their say, having the direction to this council. Yet we're not following that. We have the third, the fourth runners up, or the council gets to pick, and there's nothing more political than what that would do. So I'd like some thoughts on that from the council. Is there something that's palatable that this council would want to see? John had said 83% of the people wanted the politics out of this process. I think having a third or fourth runner-up warrants politics, warrants having an affirmation that this is the person that this town wants to serve. So I'd like to throw that out there as something to think about. I'll put it in my words in writing so that we can all rip them apart. But that's just the first thing, the main thing recently that, and the other thing I want to ensure, and I hope the solicitor verifies this, is in years past, the Charter Review Commission acted autonomously. They didn't have any input from the town council, and we're typically the people on TV. We're the people that come up to us in the supermarkets, the coffee shops. So we have input on our own. Yet we were completely boxed out of the last Charter Review Commissions, and I think that was one solicitor, not Solicitor Conley, but before him that had stated that requirement. So I would like the town council to be able to be consulted in these questions. So I'll leave that for a future confirmation, and if it's not, you got to tell us early. And so that's where I'm coming from this. I agree a workshop is needed. I just wanted to get some ideas from the counselors to start the discussion with the public. So that, they have some ideas of the charter that wants to come out. We're all very vested in this.
Should we set a date to get our information into our clerks?
Mr. President, looking at the calendar, if a week isn't enough time for folks, if you go with a cutoff of June 12th to get any questions any possible charter questions you want, get them to the clerk by close of business, June 12th, that's a Friday. That'll give her until the 18th to prepare them for our meeting on the 22nd. You can do what you did tonight, have a workshop session inside the meeting on the 18th for the charter. And then we have two meetings in July 13th and July 27th, where we can make the final decisions. If that sounds good.
Sounds good.
And does that give you enough time, Madam Clerk? Okay.
All right, so there's no action tonight. That's the date we're shooting for, June 12th.
That's to be discussed at the June 22nd meeting? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, I'm sorry?
You want to discuss them on the June 22nd meeting?
Yes, we'll have a workshop inside the meeting. And then it'll give us July 13th with the final date of July 27th, because we don't have another meeting in August until the 17th. So it has to be finalized by the 27th of July.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Krista, I could just interrupt for a second. One you want to consider, just because you're the one coming up with the ideas, is also the advertising on the zoning, because we used a QR code this time. You'd have to print a 70-page document in the newspaper to.
Yeah, I neglected to say the
Yeah.
town clerk has three motions. Am I right? Three considerations that are administrative in nature, not policy-wise, but advertising. Anything else under this issue? So we're looking for June 12th to have the councils submit something. Moving now to communications and reports, liaison reports. Councilor Healy?
The Housing Committee wasn't able to meet last week, and I am not a liaison. We do not have one for the school committee, but it was something that was talked about that the council might want to know. And they did go into their fund balance at their last meeting and spent a decent amount of money on there. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Any other reports? How many meals did you serve, Mary?
This was a record this week. We served 90 meals.
Wow.
90. Yeah, we're looking to keep it going in the summer. The Dante Society has started a fundraiser to get a freezer. So the school will be looking to make the meals before it closes for the summer. And we'll have it in the freezer and we'll be able to give out the meals. And we're looking at that point to change our day and hours to Wednesday from 3 to 6 in the summer, probably starting in July.
Thank you. Any other liaison reports? Moving on, Town Council, 518. All set? Town manager?
Yeah, so in my report, there's the Tarzan Brown a letter from Larry Hirsch and Joe Pellegrino regarding the Tarzan Brown Memorial. There'll be an invitation forthcoming, but they're having their dedication ceremony on the 13th of June. You'll see it in the letter of the correspondence. But they'll be forwarding a letter to all the council. Or they'll forward it to me and I'll forward it to you. Then I have department head monthly reports. Then we have LMI litigation letters supporting towns, and I'll do the best I can to explain it, but Bill may have to step in to explain a little more. But so basically, we had passed, it's a letter from a law firm that's been retained at the, I'm guessing collectively with all the towns? Not yet. Oh, it's Ashland. But it's basically to take a position that we did by resolution, as was mentioned by Dylan LaPeter earlier, that we just take a stance that we want to manage our own zoning laws and housing laws and so forth, and pushing back against the mandated state mandates. Am I saying that correct, Bill? Okay, so there's just two correspondence letters from,
They're asking, they're dividing up the 100,000 estimated legal costs per municipality, and Westerly is slated for $11,878. Why wouldn't we just ask our delegation to modify the laws? Senators
I
Gu.
believe we have. I believe we have. I don't think we've gotten anywhere.
Why can't we follow that rather than try to litigate this in court? I mean, this is say $12,000, but it's gonna be more than that.
Well, unfortunately, our own delegation works against us sometimes. I think we're left with no choice but to do this is where we're headed. And I'll be talking about an agenda referrals, but if our delegation listened to their constituents, maybe we wouldn't be in the situation to begin with, Mr. Duhamel.
Mr. LaPetra, I don't, you'll have to refer to me where they did act against us. I know Senator Gu was acting very strongly on beach rights, beach access rights. And Representative Azanero is very approachable in any of this. I would think $12,000 even to you might seem like a lot of money.
The ask is not that now, it's just breaking it down. I think they have to get traction with every community first before anything comes to fruition, which would come back to you to make a decision at that point. But again, we could also, I have no problem reaching out to our state legislative side and saying, what are you doing for us to help us with this? That's not a problem.
We could do both.
So that caught my eye, the foot in the door of 12 grand. I didn't know that it would have any acceptance, but go figure. Anything else in the manager's report? Thank you
No,
for
it's
bringing that forward. Town solicitor, anything else you would like to add?
No, sir.
Thank God. Town clerk?
Yes, I just want to inform the council that the Memorial Day Parade is Monday, the 25th at 9:30. And if you plan to participate, you should arrive at the Pawcatuck Shopping Center at 9 a.m. I believe you're in the first division that forms at the Pequot Trail entrance.
I sent out an email if anybody needs a ride. It was just sent out this afternoon. On the council side or whatever, school committee members, I can get them a ride here from at 9:10 to run up there, run up to the start.
I'll be able to attend also. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Agenda referrals and backlog agenda to be signed in future agendas. Councilor Petra.
Going back to, we just touched on it, letter 4 in the town manager's report, I'd like to add for a future agenda, I guess, discussion and possible action to pursue litigation to address the invasion of local control of planning and zoning oversight by the Rhode Island General Assembly. I'd like to have that on an agenda for discussion and possible action.
Anything else? Councilor Healy.
I would like to, this might end up being a workshop thing, or I might need to get guidance from solicitor staff before this is legit. So I'll just say that out loud. Something that Sean has requested of us is our communication when it goes to staff. For example, I wouldn't just call up the tax assessor and have a conversation. I would go through Sean, and Sean handles his staff. I'm wondering if we can not only have that in writing, so we are respecting our town manager, but also regarding the communications that go to our solicitor. What the solicitor, maybe a budget of, he has X amount to spend on incoming calls from residents, from things that aren't pertaining to the current agenda. Again, I don't know the exact wording that we would be looking for. And I'll follow that up with a question to the solicitor at that agenda item, but those are the two kind of ideas I have.
Okay.
Sorry, Mary, I don't know how you're gonna put that in the spreadsheet, but I'm sorry.
Any other agenda referrals? Moving now to requests of the town manager. I just want to go, if quickly, the great weather we had yesterday, the beach parking lot filling up, all the texts and emails about, why aren't we manning the gates and charging? You had a great answer.
Yeah, so we certainly can do whatever we decide to do, meaning collectively in the town. But I believe there is nothing wrong with, we allow free parking up until Memorial Day weekend. That is a benefit to all the taxpayers. Our lots are open, they're allowed to go in. We are always accused of, charging, the people have to pay their taxes and they have to, there's fees for this and fees for that and fees for everything else. And that all comes as a cost. So we can have, thankfully, we have days like yesterday before Memorial Day, right? But we can all remember Memorial Day when it's 50 degrees and raining out and it's chilly. So we have seasonal staff we bring in, which are college kids, high school kids, the lifeguard staff. This is all scheduled, bring them in preseason. So we could do that. We could stop bringing staff on May 1st and keep them a little bit later. It comes at a cost. And then it's going to come at a cost. We're going to be collecting money, right? And keep in mind, the state, the reason it was a problem yesterday, the state, because they're doing the construction and all the entrances, the state beach is closed. The state beach normally is open up until Memorial Day weekend, free parking. You can just pull in there for free. Memorial Day weekend, we start charging, which is what we mirror what the state does. Because the state beach was closed, that's an additional 3,500, whatever it is, spots in there, which then pushed it to the outlying lots, which is a good thing. People went to the beach, they enjoyed it. We had staff down there emptying the garbages and cleaning up and so forth. So I don't know that we really want to get into, we can, to start charging people before Memorial Day. It's a benefit they have. Go down there and enjoy the beach. If you have the few nice days, you can do it. We don't even start parking enforcement really unless it's blatant until this upcoming weekend. Same with Watch Hill. You could go down and park for the day. You can park on Locken Road without your sticker, right? Up until this upcoming weekend. That's just when we start the enforcement. We could change all that around, but I think it's a benefit for everyone to enjoy those early season parking at no cost.
There's certainly that, but there's also the manpower. You're going to have college students being available.
Well, if we charge to park, we have to have lifeguards, right? So we have to have, at least on the ocean side, right? The way the law works, if you're on the pond side, because you're not supplying access, they go to the water, that's why they're parking there. But if you're on, so we'd have to have lifeguards staffed. And again, yesterday we had the Town Beach Pavilion open. The bathrooms are open for the day. They got closed at the end of the day. So the services people, the expectations were there. But I think we'd have to ramp up earlier and it will be a challenge. I know one of the correspondents I got back and forth, we'll just get a bunch of retired people to come down and, okay, well, we have no problem. We can get the retired people to come down and man the lots or charge for parking. There's the fine line whether we look like we're in something just to grab it extra money out of it. I mean, we provide enough. We have over $100 million budget in the town. I don't think we're down the beach trying to chase $1,000. And then what do? You know, the weekend before I mentioned is the Spring Fest. That's all free parking, you know. We allow all free parking. There's an admission to get into the Spring Fest. If we start charging, say this past weekend, do we go the weekend before? And now we're charging to park plus to get into the Spring Fest plus to. So there were some lots that were charging, majority of the lots were free this past weekend.
Thank you. Council Petra?
Well, first off, we don't make any money on Spring Fest, let me say that, but I agree with you. I understand state law says we have to have lifeguards on duty, but I'm just gonna throw this question out and neither, you know, just, and I know it's private lots. What do you think Watch Hill was charging a park yesterday?
I have no idea even if they were. I don't know.
$50 a car.
Were they charging?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was at the only,
Private lots, I'm just saying, this is. I'm
yeah,
just telling
there's
you.
only two lots. Keep in mind, Watch Hill, the fire district lot, which holds 100 cars, they don't charge all summer. It's free. And I think there's only two paid lots, right?
I said it just as information, Sean.
No, I understand.
Council Shalaba?
Sean, can we get as a council an update on the expenditures of the 250th committee? Because there's been a lot of rumblings that they're almost out of money, and I'd like to know what's going on.
I certainly can. I will email it to all of you and I can include it in my next manager's report. Let me just make a note of it, 250. But I can tell you, we did a complete balance sheet. So the way, just to be clear, so this council authorized up to $75,000 for them to use for their 250th. And any money revenue that they brought in would come off the 75,000. That was made by you, Bill, specifically. So they had, as of, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but they had brought in about $26,000, which means it brings the expense down to 49,000 that was approved by you. So using that rule of thumb, when we went through it last week, they had about a balance of about 14,000 left they could spend.
And that also included the 10,000 from Dennis in Washington Trust at Broad.
That's everything. That's the ticket sales for the ball. The 26,000 comprises of donations, ticket sales from the ball and any other funding, the state grant we got. That's the 26. 26 comes off to 75, 49,000 to the taxpayers. And they currently out of that 75 have right around 13, 14 left. But I'll get an exact, I can get you, we have it broken down on a spreadsheet.
Thank you.
Mary, I can say at the last meeting of the 250th Commission, they took us through all that budgeting that Sean just mentioned, and they're only going to spend about $49,000 of the town's money at the end of the day, and they have down to the cent accounted for the rest of it. So I think we're in the clear, but we'll certainly get those numbers.
No, thank you. No, because I've just heard, like I said, I've heard rumblings that they may have to come back to the council looking for more funds and stuff like that. So I just thought, you know, it's good. We're in the halfway point almost. It's good to kind of get a breakout to see where they are and what upcoming events and what, if anything, is needed. Thank you.
Just to clarify one thing, that I did make the motion, but there was also the last part of that motion were after subtracted from the 75,000, unless there is something specific not included in the approved schedule. So it left an opening for them. If somebody donates money for something new, that's not included in that 75. So that's
Okay.
above.
I don't know. I mean, the donation, the minimal donations, I get them broken down. One was 10,000 from the Washington Trust that came in. So I think, you know, and again, I think it was clear, I'm pretty sure that if there was additional activities they came up with over and above and beyond, because it's only 49,000 to the taxpayers, then to come back to the council and ask if they needed something above and beyond. But again, right, yeah. But I mean, I guess is your thought process that 10,000 from the Washington Trust was additional and above and beyond to use as they will? No.
I wasn't there when it was presented, so I don't know what it was for. But just, I mean, I can send you my motion, but
My interpretation, if I'm wrong, please correct me, was that we take the total revenue taken in, which is a little over 26, comes off of the 75. That's what the taxpayers are spending, 49. They have a budget of 75 not to exceed. If they need anything above and beyond that for a program that may come up, they will come back and ask.
if they needed it, but if somebody, and somebody joked that night when I talked about it, but I said, if somebody makes a donation for, say $5,000, they want like to do something that wasn't on that schedule that we were given. That's outside of that 75,000. Now, whether or not it's something that the town wants to do, that's a different topic. But if somebody donates money that's for something outside of that schedule that we were provided, that's on top
Oh,
of that.
I think they've
That
gotten,
doesn't
the
get-
donations they received are towards the schedule that they presented. There's nothing that says, hey, I want to do a balloon show and here's 5,000 for it. We have not had that.
Council Niemeyer.
Yeah, when the finance board came to us regarding the water and sewer and transfer, et cetera, they talked about something we should proactively look at being the long-term water needs and conducting a study related to that. You'd mentioned that there were funds for such a study. What would you need from us to get the ball rolling on that? Should we take an action? What are you thinking?
No, we did put money in for that in the budget, so we will go out to bid after July 1st from consulting services to do that, and then come back to the council for approval of whatever we come up with.
Awesome. Okay.
Council Healy.
I have a question. On Saturday at the animal control, they had their open house. It was awesome. Do you know how many adoptions there were at this point yet, or no?
I don't know, but I'll ask right now and see if I can get it. So they did an adoption, it was a rabies clinic or no?
No, well, I believe that they were still doing like vaccines and stuff,
Yep.
but it was more of an open house. There was a plethora of free things for all
really?
animals, and it was fun. I had my kiddo
Yeah.
go help out.
The problem is you usually go home with something. I mean, that's.
We came home with nothing,
Okay.
so it was a
That's
win-win.
tough. Yeah. I can
Um,
find out.
Yeah, no, it was, Nakia did really, really good. And then yesterday was Neighbor Day. So I wanted to give our multicultural committee a round of applause. I unfortunately wasn't able to stay for the whole thing, but I was there for the opening. I saw the 250th commission there. It was, the plant and garden show was, as always, nice and healthy amount of people there. So thank you to all of our volunteers for getting something put together so well for our local fallen patriots.
Very good. Any other requests to the manager?
And I'll preface this by saying, Sean, this is just a request. I understand you have a lot of discretion in this matter. So we approved the minutes earlier tonight, going back to the contract with Rockwell Amusements. And in the minutes, I originally made a motion saying I'd like to change it to $5,000, and right in the minutes we approved, it says upfront from Rockwell Amusement. Now, later on, that motion was amended, and even though the upfront I thought was implied, if you read the minutes, it says 5,000 or 15% of gross, so it got dropped somewhere in the amendment. Okay, however, we never did vote on the original motion, it seems, and like I said, you have plenty of discretion, any way you want to present this contract to them, but I would ask that we follow maybe the town beach concession stand model and ask for the 5,000 upfront. I don't think it's a lot of money. That's all.
That's a request made of one counselor. The council voted to direct the manager to finish the.
I can just give you a quick update. There will be no amusements. There will be no amusements. He just alerted me this morning. He just can't get the help. It has nothing to do with the money. He said he can't commit the right help down there for it. He's struggling trying to go to all the events statewide and getting help.
It is
So
so
he
hard
said-
to find
He
good
said,
help.
I don't want to promise you something to have the ride sitting there, because if they're sitting there, then he goes, I'm the bad guy if I can't get help down there. So he's got a few weeks. It hasn't pulled. He said, let me see what I can come up with, but it's not looking promising, because it wasn't supposed to be the end of June anyway.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
update.
That's too bad. Anything else for the manager? Anything of the solicitor? Councilor Healy.
All right. I have a couple of questions for you, Bill. With everything that happened today, I know what we have, but for the school committee members, are they able to stay on boards and committees within the town, or are they like us, they have to get off of those to hold their seat?
Yeah, I'll have to look at the charter. I'm not aware of any specific.
My interpretation of it or whatever is that they would have to get
I'll
off,
look
but I
at it.
just wanted
I
to.
had, I apologize, I had not looked at that issue. I
No.
will.
No apologies at all. There was something else that I wanted to ask you and it's slipping my mind, so. Real quick though, Sean, thank you about the parking. I agree with everything you just said. And Dylan, if you want to get together and get some sort of fiscal plan for that lot together for parking, I would be happy to work on that with you.
Anything else of the council? Hearing none. Moving on to citizens' comments. This portion of citizens' comments is on any subject. Any citizen can come and speak. Please state your name and address.
John Gagne, 6 Narragansett Avenue. When I left home tonight, I thought I was only going to be here for the first citizens comment. So, but I saw that you had amendments to the charter. Couple things. When the Charter Commission sat, the council was not boxed out. In fact, Councilor Shalabis submitted a number of different questions for us to look at and examine. We had discussions on, I think he even came to a meeting, if my memory serves me. I know Councilor Aiello came to some of our meetings also. So, and I don't know, possibly another. I don't know if, oh, you did? Okay, so, and Councilor LaPetra. So the council had input anytime it wanted to, just like any other citizens were able to, and in fact, actually a little more so than citizens. The charter amendments, amending the charter, as your solicitor will tell you, is under 15-1-1 of the town charter. I don't see here, and I hate to take the punch bowl away from the party, but I don't see provisions in here for unsolicited, the council just dropping charter amendments. In other words, one, you have the ability to see the charter commission. Two, if you get a petition of 3% of the voters who voted in the last election, they can move a question forward. We saw that happen a number of years ago. Jack Armstrong brought charter changes and they sat a commission and they went through with it. And then number three, every 7 years, you see the charter commission according to the charter. Now, within the charter commissions, if they submit questions or if the citizens submit questions to the charter, as I read it, the council has the ability to put opposing questions, and councils have done that in the past and presided. But this was all amended, guess what, in 2024. And unlike the last item that I talked to you about, this one passed by 84%. So 84% of the voters. So I think it would be important to look at, because the question of charter questions, what can a council do? Because councilors in the past used to routinely discard charter questions that came from commissions. The big one they discarded was term limits. And in fact, a number of councils after term limits were passed kept pushing charter amendments for term limits and kept losing at the polls. So it may want to dust off Councilor Connolly's memo and Solicitor Matthew Oliverio's letter, which talks about making changes to the charter and those. But in 2024, the ability to just arbitrarily just sit down and start submitting charter questions from the council, based on my reading of it. Now, I'm not an attorney, but your attorney's right there, is gone. The voters took it away. So that was it. Earlier in the meeting, you talked about 9 votes to get on the school committee, Councilor Duhamel, and kind of blown away by it. We're all blown away by it. But it just goes to testament of the power of the vote. We talk about people voting all the time. Mario Selico, our departed colleague of Chris and I's, he won one time by 3 votes. There was a recall. I mean, that was recall. There was a recount, and he ended up sitting on the council by 3 votes. But he ran for election. So that's more of the things we were used to. But this one, had anyone foretold it? Now, I'll forecast ahead. I would expect that both political parties will be doing write-ins. You'll see more write-ins in the future as kind of insurance policies, because I stand here blown away. Now, ultimately, it's kind of like old Egypt, right? I mean, not old Egypt, Athens, ancient Greece, where they got together and they pulled a lottery and they decided who was going to be in charge of the government for a year, and they selected certain citizens to work together and work on. So it's real basic level. But if anything could encourage people to go to the polls, it's the fact that you have 9 votes, somebody's going to serve an elective office and given an office of trust. And we wish them the best of luck to the school committee and with their new colleagues, and best of luck to Mr. Logan. But it's the system and us being faithful to the system, although we would never have planned a system like this, is good. Is good. Anyway, so you may want to refer something to the solicitor with regard to that, the charter changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Devine?
Council President, Vice President, Town Manager, Representative Council, Town Clerk, and Sergeant Falcone. Fellow citizens, my name is Morris Devine. I live here in Westerly. I have for nearly 6 decades. I also ran as a write-in candidate for Town Council in the last election. I think I received a blistering 111 votes. I didn't make it onto the Town Council, and I did not stay in a Motel 6 last night. However, with regards to the question, can people that serve on one board, committee, or commission serve on another? The only one that I'm aware of at the moment, I believe, is prohibiting potential interplay between people on finance and sitting on the planning board and maybe zoning, but I don't think there's any other restrictions in between. So I can certainly dig on that a little bit more, but I think people, whoever crafted that, were very, very wise in making sure that those people couldn't populate multiple boards and trying to control those things. So thank you very much for your time. Nice work tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak at this time on any subject? Seeing and hearing none, council's response, Councilor Shalaba.
Thank you both. Mr. Devine, just wanted to let you know that at the prior election, Kevin Lothar was on the planning board and he had to resign when he won on the election for town council. So I just wanted to let you know on that. Thank you.
Any other council's response? Councilor Niemeyer?
Just really quick, Mr. Gagne, thank you for catching that. We'll check in with the solicitor on that. I like the way you phrased it, taking away the punch bowl.
Anyone else? Councilor Petra? Councilor Ely?
I just wanted to thank you both for coming out. And then I did remember what I had to ask the solicitor. So after this or at some point, if I can have it be done publicly, that's fine. If not, I can submit a memo to the record
You
later.
can ask if you like. I'll suspend the rules.
Really quick. How many people reached out to you directly? Was it on a weekday or a weekend? And how many hours are the town being billed in regard to that one issue of school committee?
Okay, what were the specific questions again?
How many people reached out? Was it on a weekend or a weekday? And how many hours is the town being billed? That question does not come from me. That comes directly from a constituent who is a taxpayer.
I think you could provide that in the future.
I will. Thank you.
Councilor Petra?
First, I'll just address it real quick. If everyone in the town council and town staff could read, and we had even reading comprehension skills, that bill would have been 0, because we didn't really have to reach out to you. We could have just figured it out on our own. will address.
You call?
No, why would I have to call? I knew the answer because I could
You
read.
didn't call?
Because I could
Can you
read.
confirm that?
Oh.
Still,
Well,
Conley?
may I speak to the
Please,
people at the
councilors
podium?
respond.
Okay. Mr. Gagne, first of all, it's kind of hard to put opposing questions on the ballot when you give us 20 questions already and people are kind of mailing in about 13 or 14. So we would have loved to have done that. I also would like to refer to the solicitor as well, what we can do as a council. I did go there, but I was only as observation purposes only. You know, when I did go to those meetings, I wasn't trying to influence in any way. I just went there to observe. I do think that sometimes as counselors, we have some ideas. For instance, Patsy Moore had an idea that could possibly cost us six figures a year, and all I wanted was a fiscal note attached, and my desires weren't taken into account. So I would like a chance to do what you guys did on a much smaller scale. And obviously we'll have to abide by what the solicitor says. I'm not sure how much we should really be involved, like you said, but thank you. That's all.
Any other councilors? Councilor Aiello?
Thank you. Just a couple things about the charter amendments, and my thought is it would be all out in the open, public. In the past, the clerk has taken the councilors' proposed questions, put them in a spreadsheet. It's got the charter reference, what it is, proposed questions, or what we want changed or whatever. It's posted, and we discuss it openly. And you've been on the council when we've done it in the 2016 to 2018. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it may have been Mario that did the 3 runner-up question, if I'm not mistaken. He did. So it's been done. So unless something has changed in the last, and council, the solicitor will inform us. So I think it's an open process, not rushed. I don't want to do it in one. I prefer to take as long as we can and get it in there. If we had time, I would have opened it up to the public like we did on the last council. But we're running short on time, and like somebody said, it is hard to put opposing questions when there are so many questions to begin with. We don't ever want to go back to that time that there were like 35, 40 questions on the ballot. We don't ever want to do that again. That was council before my first one. And so we need to keep it down to a manageable level. And this is not an opportunity for councilors to get a personal pet peeve or project or something in there. But if there's something logical that should be changed, or something that we found that maybe needs to be tweaked, then I think we should do it and let the voters decide. But fully out in the public and not rushed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors?
Motion to adjourn.
I was just going to thank the two for participating tonight. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now adjourned.